After I saved Willow from school bullying, she offered herself to me and became my girlfriend. However, I never expected that when Makoto, the school bully who once tormented her, got married, she would jump into the sea to die for him. While I was still in shock, I discovered a hidden folder on her computer. It was filled with writings expressing her longing and love for Makoto. She even wrote a line of lyrics. Every day without you, I toss and turn, unable to sleep. Rage burned within me. As the saying goes, when in doubt, trust quantum mechanics. I made a decisive choice. I traveled through time. Then, one morning after my rebirth, when Makoto cornered her in the restroom to bully her, I withdrew my gaze and didn't step forward to help. However, the next second, she stopped me, her voice filled with despair. Why, this time? Won't you help me? Chapter 1. The female singer Willow released a new song, My Muse. The song's implications were far too clear. During interviews, everyone kept asking her whether the song was inspired by the person she loved. She seemed to recall something, the corners of her lips curling softly, her eyes shimmering with tears. Looking into the camera, she said, "Yes, I wish him happiness." A reporter, clearly eager to stir up drama, asked slyly, "By wishing him happiness, do you mean you're getting married to George?" "I am George. From high school until now. We've walked together for more than a decade. In our circle, this was no secret." In the video, Willow froze for just a moment when she heard my name. She didn't answer the reporter's question. She only said, "That's all for today," and left under the escort of her staff. I stared at the unfinished interview, recalling something I'd once read. If two people have been together for many years but never marry, they probably never will. I never thought that would become true for us, because Willow jumped into the sea and ended her life. On a large rock by the shore sat an old-fashioned cell phone. The screen showed her chat with Makoto. The last unsent message read, "I love you." Chapter 2. Willow was an orphan. With her gone like this, all her affairs were left for me to handle. Perhaps she had foreseen this day, because she had already prepared a will, arranging everything down to the smallest detail. She said she loved children, so she donated all her savings to an orphanage. She said she had no home, so she left her house to the state. She said she had feelings she could never speak aloud in life, and that death would give her the courage to express them. She even remembered a coworker who had once handed her a tissue when she cried. But for me, she left not a single word, as if all our years together were insignificant, irrelevant, and weightless, like a puppet without flesh or soul. I went through all the motions of managing her affairs. Then, inside a bookshelf, I found an old laptop. I opened a random folder by accident. It was filled with daily notes and photos of her and a man, our high school's notorious bully, Makoto. The folder's name was My Muse. Desperate, I counted them. Just the photos alone, 500. Even though they'd had no contact since graduation. Opening the preview, I saw some photos still bore social media watermarks. The earliest was from our freshman year, Makoto bowing at the end of the welcome gala. The latest, his public engagement photo. And suddenly, I understood who that song had been written for. I understood what "I wish him happiness" really meant. My heart clenched like it was being crushed in someone's fist, each throb stabbing with unbearable pain. At the very end, there was one more document. It chronicled her secret crush on Makoto, beginning from our first year in high school. How ridiculous. Makoto had bullied her from the moment school started, mocking her as a hillbilly girl, cornering her after class to pour cold water over her, slapping her in back alleys, cutting up her clothes, forcing her to eat food dropped on the ground. And I couldn't stand it. I saved her time and again, helping her return to a normal life. She never mentioned any of that. She only wrote about the rainy day, when Makoto held an umbrella over her. She said the world stopped then, that amid the noise and chaos, only his tall silhouette remained. It was that silhouette that captured her heart for life. Even her dream of becoming a singer was born because of him. When he bullied her once, he found her diary full of lyrics, and read them aloud before the whole class, mocking her cruelly, saying, "What a fantasy diary. Not every nobody can become a star." Stop daydreaming. Yet instead of anger, she found resolve. She wanted to stand on the stage one day, to shine so brightly, that he would have to see her. Bitterness welled inside me. So all these years, I was nothing but a joke, not even worthy of a name in her heart. Clenching my fists until they trembled, I read the last line she had typed. "If there is a next life, I will be brave once." My head throbbed violently. Through gritted teeth, I muttered, "If there's a next life, I'll never meddle in your twisted love again. Go chase your so-called true love." Chapter 3. When I opened my eyes again, Willow was on stage introducing herself. When the teacher said she would be my desk mate, I froze for just a second before quickly raising my hand. Teacher, I don't want to, I said. Yes, I've returned to my first year of high school. It was the very same year Willow secretly loved and was bullied by the campus tyrant, Makoto. This time, I wouldn't help her. Willow clearly didn't expect me to speak like that. Her face flushed red, and for a moment, embarrassment and hurt flickered across her features, perhaps confused by my reaction. The homeroom teacher was silent for a while before asking in a calm but serious tone, "Why not?" Because I didn't want any entanglement with Willow, and I certainly wouldn't get involved again with that ungrateful girl who bites the hand that feeds her. Expressionless, I said, "I know physiognomy, and she restrains my fortune." I spouted nonsense with a straight face, not the slightest bit nervous. The teacher was momentarily stunned, then scolded me for being superstitious, but in the end, he let Willow sit next to Makoto instead. When she walked over, I saw Makoto frown, then exaggeratedly drag his chair farther away, muttering under his breath, "Hillbilly girl." At this point in time, Willow was still living in the orphanage. Though she worked part-time after school, she didn't have much, so she looked malnourished, smaller and thinner than the other students. Her clothes, though clean, had faded from washing, and a few patches were visible. In my previous life, we'd shared a desk, and Makoto had also called her Hillbilly girl. Back then, I had kicked his chair hard and told him to watch his mouth, because I knew, once bullying starts, if no one stands up, it only gets worse. I didn't have any special feelings for Willow at the time. I just couldn't stand watching someone being bullied. But this time, when I saw Makoto's reaction, I said nothing. Still, I could sense Willow's body stiffen. For a moment, it even felt like she wanted to turn around and look at me. I ignored it and lowered my head, focusing on my book. Chapter 4. After being reborn, it only took me a few days of confusion before I fully adapted to my new life. In truth, as an adult, I had often regretted failing my college entrance exams and not getting into the school I had always dreamed of. So this time, it felt like a gift from heaven, and I was determined to make the most of it. I had no interest in whatever might happen between Willow and Makoto. To fall in love with someone who once bullied you, and to still be hung up on them afterward. What kind of masochist does that? Why bother saving someone like that? So, when I saw Makoto and his gang cornering Willow at the bathroom door right before school ended, I simply washed my hands, didn't even spare them a glance. Makoto sneered. "Do you even realize how disgusting you are? What's that smell on you? Damn, it stinks. Hillbilly girl, do you have body odor or something? Does your orphanage not have showers? Then let me wash you properly." Filthy words spewed from Makoto's mouth. In my previous life, I couldn't understand how someone from a wealthy family like him could be so uncultured. So when I saw them blocking Willow, I had rushed in front of her, shielding her with my body. I cursed Makoto out for 300 rounds until he stormed off in anger. That bucket of cold water never landed on Willow. Back then, I even told her that when faced with bullying, she had to learn to fight back. No one would come to rescue her over and over again. She thanked me with her lips, but I didn't notice that her eyes were following Makoto's retreating figure. Looking back now, why did I even bother? Maybe Willow actually enjoyed it deep down. So this time, I walked straight toward the bathroom door. Halfway there, that bucket of water inevitably splashed over her. I didn't stop, pretended I hadn't seen a thing, kept walking forward. Behind me, I heard Willow's hoarse, despairing voice call out to me, "George." Chapter 5. Bad luck. I quickened my pace. In my haste, I didn't see someone coming from the front and ran straight into a girl, knocking her over. "You, what the?" she started to say. Sitting on the ground, she squinted, rubbing her forehead, looking up at me with a mixture of pain and resentment. Afraid that Willow might run after me from behind, I mumbled a quick sorry and bolted away. Without my help, Willow was practically living in hell. Kids at this age are already sensitive and insecure, and she had that stubborn pride of hers. No matter how bad the bullying got, she never made a sound. Makoto seemed to enjoy the feeling of crushing her beneath his feet, constantly coming up with new ways to torment her. Lately, though, he had toned it down a little. He was busy preparing for the school's welcome party. I remembered that the first photo of Willow in my past life was taken during that same event, while Makoto was giving his speech. I had never been interested in such things, and this time was no exception. I didn't go. I thought Willow wouldn't miss a chance to see Makoto, but surprisingly, she didn't go either. When I saw her figure, I was momentarily stunned. Then I started packing my bag, ready to head home. Just as I placed the last book inside, she turned her head. "George." Her brows were slightly furrowed, as if she was struggling to suppress something, eager to prove herself. In my previous life, even after years of being together, Willow had always been emotionally distant. The few times I'd seen her truly stirred, one of them was when I confessed to her after graduation. Back then, she had looked at me with eyes bright and sincere, filled with surprise and joy. as if she had been waiting forever for me to say those words, "Do you want to be together?" But now, as the image of that girl overlapped with the one before me, I only felt disgust. Maybe, back then, she had just been looking through me to see someone else, so I gave her a calm, indifferent glance. And under her expectant gaze, I walked away without a word. Chapter 6. Willow got cornered by Makoto again. This time, it was in a narrow alley just outside the school, a path I had to take to get home. Maybe it was my imagination, but I thought I caught a flicker of hope in Willow's eyes. Was she expecting me to save her again, like last time? Of course not. I merely gave a brief glance, then looked away. Makoto had some twisted obsession with tormenting Willow. "Hillbilly girl, what's that in your hand?" he sneered. "What are you hiding? Looks pretty valuable. Does it even belong to you? Come on, show me." Willow bit her lip, refusing to say a word. When he didn't get a response, Makoto reached out to grab it, cursing. "Don't tell me you stole from me, you little thief." But this time, Willow's reaction was explosive. She shoved Makoto away, her eyes suddenly locking onto mine. "It's not yours," she shouted hysterically. "If you break it, I'll fight you to the end." I didn't even glance her way, just kept walking, straight ahead, and the faint light in Willow's eyes dimmed in the face of my indifference. Soon after, I heard the dull sound of fists hitting flesh, followed by Willow's muffled groan. I still didn't turn back, but out of the corner of my eye, I saw her clutching that thing in her hand with all her strength. Chapter 7. Just as I walked out of that alley, I ran into someone else in the next one, a girl I didn't know very well. She had a cut on her forehead, blood on her face, and was sitting curled up against the wall, looking like she'd just been in a fight. TSK. Looked like this route wasn't very lucky. Next time, I'd take a detour. As I was thinking that, she suddenly spoke up, irritation in her voice. "Hey, you're just gonna walk by and not help?" I stood still. I'd read enough novels to know, never pick up a woman you find on the street, especially a pretty one. Besides, in my past life, I'd saved Willow again and again, and she never remembered my kindness. Why would I stick my nose in someone else's business again? So, I pretended not to see her. Just as I was about to lift my foot and leave, she shot me a sideways glance. "You really won't help?" I was speechless. "Great, a difficult one." She let out a soft snort. "Can't you at least help me up? You knocked me down last time, and it still hurts." I made a show of pulling out my phone. "I can call an ambulance for you." She rolled her eyes. "Wow, you're really something." I replied flatly. "Well, since you can talk just fine, I doubt you're that hurt." She frowned. "I'm not lying. I really can't move." "Come on, help me up. We're classmates, aren't we?" Seeing I still didn't move, she seemed to lose her temper. "Cold-blooded jerk." I said. "No, I just don't know if you're crazy. What if I help you up and you accuse me of harassment?" She was speechless for a second, then sighed. "You've got one hell of an imagination." She pulled out her student ID and tossed it in front of me. "Class 3, Year 1, Anna." I bent down and picked it up. "Yep, same school." "So," I asked, "after I help you up, then what?" She groaned. "Dude, can you stop talking? My legs are about to snap here." That's when I noticed the blood still seeping from her leg. I hesitated for a moment. Honestly, all those news stories about people getting sued for trying to help someone in trouble had left an impression on me. She said impatiently, "What are you still thinking about? Come on, big guy. I'm seriously dying here." I sighed. "Fine. Which leg is hurt?" "Both," she said weakly. "Seriously?" I deadpanned. "Then even if I help you up, you still can't walk." She thought for a moment. "Then carry me," I said dryly. "Then you'll need to sign a consent form." She glared at me. "What's wrong with you? Why are you so damn paranoid?" Rolling her eyes, she added, "Fine, I swear, if you save me, I'll buy you barbecue and even introduce you to someone. Worst case, I'll repay you with my body." "Okay," I replied. "You better not betray me afterward." Anna choked. I bent down and guided her hand around my neck. "Hold on tight," I said. But apparently, I had overestimated my high school physique. I failed to lift her up properly, and when I lost my grip, she nearly fell. The air froze. So, I decided to change tactics. Bending forward, I hoisted her onto my back with all my strength. Immediately, I heard her grit her teeth and hiss. First my leg was broken, now my arm is too. Oh, great. After much struggle, I finally managed to carry her out of the alley, only to see Willow standing there, covered in bruises and wounds, just like Anna. Chapter 8. Her gaze lingered on me for a long time. Then, incredulously, it shifted to Anna, who was still on my back. I could almost see her tightly held composure beginning to crumble. I remembered the past. When Makoto and his gang came after her, I was the one who shouted that there was a fire, drawing everyone's attention so she could escape. I was the one who ran up to check her injuries. asking if she was okay. I was the one who carried her to the hospital and stayed by her bedside for an entire day. Back then, I hadn't done it because I liked her. I was simply being a good person. But later, reality taught me, being good doesn't pay. Even gratitude is too much to expect. So now, I've taken back every bit of kindness I ever gave her. George. Willow's voice was hoarse, trembling so slightly that it was almost imperceptible. You helped her, she said. I looked at her calmly, frowning just a little, but she took a step forward, her frail body quivering, and under my confused gaze, she reached out her hand. Resting there was a fitness band, the very thing she had been protecting so desperately moments ago. It was mine. She clutched it like a lifeline, her eyes filled with despair and something close to pleading. Her voice was soft, almost sinking into the dust. Why didn't you help me this time? Chapter 9. For a moment, I thought I must be mistaken. Willow, how could she ever look like that? She had always been cold, proud, untouchable. She was the one who liked Makoto. This was the third time she'd called my name since my rebirth, but she was also the one who, after taking her own life, hadn't left me a single word. How heartless, as if I had only ever been a nameless passerby in her story. So I looked at her with equal indifference and asked, "Are we close?" That was the same question she had asked me once before, the last time I saved her. I'd thought she'd only said it because she was hurt and didn't want anyone to see her weakness. So I'd told her, "We're desk mates, I'll protect you." But now, looking back, maybe she had never cared for my self-righteous kindness at all. On countless sleepless nights since coming back to life, I had wondered, was I wrong? This time, I didn't save her. I helped someone else instead. I didn't know what she was thinking, but I remembered something I'd read long ago. I want you to stay awake as you watch me abandon you again and again, saving others instead. I want you to hope, then despair, over and over, until the darkness itself becomes your punishment. So let her think what she wants. The more twisted, the better. She opened her mouth, gasping for air, her face pale. George, we're. She seemed to want to accuse me, after all, even if we weren't desk mates. We were still classmates. How could I just walk away? But before she could finish, Anna's impatient voice cut through the air. What's wrong with you? You're not crippled. Stop pretending to be pitiful. George, if we don't go now, I'm going to collapse. TSK. Still bossy, even while injured and being carried. Willow froze at Anna's words, her lips trembling, the corners of her eyes turning red as she looked at me. All I wanted was to get rid of this troublesome girl on my back as soon as possible. So I said, "Fine, let's get you to the hospital." At that, Willow's frail figure seemed to sway, as if a single gust of wind could blow her away. Her eyes turned toward Anna, cold enough to pierce bone. Chapter 10. She was looking at you weirdly. You should stay away from that girl. Anna's voice came from behind me as soon as we got into the taxi. Then she added, "Not like me, I'm sweet, sensible, from a good family, and simple-minded. I don't play all those little manipulative games." I turned my head to look at her flamboyant, beautiful face, completely confused. I couldn't help saying, "Then how'd you end up getting hurt like that?" Anna immediately flared up, like a cat with its fur standing on end. "Excuse me, those girls ganged up on me, and besides, they're way worse off than I am." "Okay, I just bled a little. They look like a train hit them," I said evenly. "So, since it's just a little injury, I guess you don't need the hospital then." She froze, pressed her lips together, then leaned weakly against my back. "No. I can't. My blood sugar's low. I'm about to pass out." The silence that followed was deafening. Still, I sighed and handed her a piece of candy. Her eyes lit up instantly as she popped it into her mouth, and even the tips of her ears turned red. When I was leaving the hospital later, Anna grabbed the corner of my jacket, refusing to let go until I gave her my contact info. Her eyes sparkled like stars as she said, "You're my savior. I'm treating you to dinner when I get discharged." Then she added proudly, "I'm Anna from class 3, don't forget that. I'll transfer to your class next time. I'm actually a top student, you know." I paused for a moment, then suddenly, a memory surfaced. Anna. I'd seen that name before, in a news article from my previous life. It was about research on parallel universes. She was the one who published the paper, but the attention her discovery should have gotten was completely overshadowed by the news of Willow's suicide. The internet went wild with it. And when people started digging, Makoto's name came up too. Everyone said he and Willow were the perfect match, a talented boy and a beautiful girl. Soon, people began writing romantic fanfics about them, turning tragedy into some grand love story. They said Willow was pitiful, that her suicide was an act of love and defiance against the cruel world. And me, I became the villain, the heartless man who stood in the way of her true love. I tried to clarify it, again and again, but since Willow was dead, there was no proof, and no one wanted to believe me. My private account was flooded with insults. People said that since Willow was an orphan, I had driven her to her death so I could inherit what she left behind. As if they'd forgotten. She had donated everything she owned. She left me nothing. Not even a single word. Disgusting. Chapter 11. When I reached the hospital door, Anna called out to me again. George, she said, we're only in our first year of high school. We still have a lot of chances. I turned around, puzzled. She tilted her head slightly, a faint smile playing on her lips. So, she continued, you can live this life however you want. I froze for a moment, about to reply, but she beat me to it, flashing a bright, radiant smile. I believe you can. I had to admit, her smile was infectious. It carried a warmth that felt real, fiery, full of life, completely different from Willow, if Willow lived in the shadows. Then Anna was born to bask in the sunlight. When I walked back toward the ward, I saw Willow again. I had no idea when she'd followed me there. Now, her gaze was filled with gloom and resentment, but underneath that, there was a hint of cautious pleading. I came to return this, she said softly. She opened her hand. Inside lay my fitness band, the one I must have dropped earlier, the one she had picked up. It was broken, beyond repair. Just like whatever existed between us. People were coming and going through the hospital doors, but I stood still. Ever since what she'd said back in the alley, I had a suspicion. Maybe Willow had also been reborn. What I couldn't figure out was why she seemed so emotionally shaken by me now. After thinking it over, I came to one conclusion. Willow was sick. She'd been able to fall in love with Makoto, the one who bullied her. That was Stockholm Syndrome. And now, seeking me out after everything. That was just masochism. Under her hopeful gaze, I spoke calmly. Willow, we're just classmates. You're crossing the line. She froze. Her lips turned pale, trembling slightly before she managed to whisper, her voice breaking. You're going to throw it away. For a moment, an old memory surfaced. Back before her singing talent was ever discovered, I used to finish work late, deliver food, do part-time jobs, just to support her dreams of performing, no matter the cost. When rejection after rejection piled up, when everyone told her she wasn't good enough, I still believed in her. That day, she saw me packing my bags. She broke down, clutching my hand, crying. Are you going to leave me? She had been so fragile then, like a glass figure that could shatter at a touch. I hugged her and said, no, I won't. I'm just going on a trip. I'll take you to see the world. Bring you out of the darkness and into the light. But this time, looking into her eyes, full of fragile hope, I simply said, calmly, if it's broken, it's trash. Just throw it away. Willow swayed, as if the words had knocked the breath out of her, barely able to stand. As I brushed past her, I added coldly, stop bothering me. Chapter 12. The days of studying passed quickly. I had no idea how Anna, even while staying in the hospital, still found the time to message me. I rarely replied, unless I couldn't resist. For example, just now she sent, my legs healed. Thank you, Wong. Right after that came a photo. She was wearing something revealing, perfectly accentuating her curves. In the end, I couldn't hold back and replied, your legs healed. So why are you sending me a photo of your upper body? There was silence for a while before she responded. Oops, sorry, sent the wrong one. Oh no, I can't delete the message. Yeah, right. I didn't buy that for a second. Lately, Willow seemed busy with something else. She hadn't come looking for me. It didn't take long for me to find out why. After Anna returned to school, someone reported her for bullying another girl. That day, I happened to be in the teacher's office when I heard the teacher questioning her. When she noticed me, she quickly denied it. How could I, alone, bully a whole group of them? I was defending myself. I got hurt too. After thinking for a second, I walked over and said, Teacher, I can testify, I was the one who took Miss Yu to the hospital that day. The teacher kept Anna behind to ask more questions. While I left with my homework, at the corner, I ran into Willow. I ignored her, but she wouldn't let it go. Do you even know she used to be a wannabe bad girl? Rumor has it she messed around with a bunch of guys. Do you know how bad her reputation was in middle school? Why are you helping her? I shot back. What's it got to do with you? Then I suddenly remembered the way Willow had looked at Anna that day. So I asked, so, you're the one who tattled on her? She said, does it matter? I replied, Willow, you really have no shame. She didn't even get angry. George, she's not worth it. I sneered. Are you trying to tell me what to do now? When I returned to class, Anna texted me, do you believe me? I replied, I do. The whole incident ended with Anna reading a self-criticism at the flag-raising ceremony. That day, she sent another message. Luckily, I wasn't given an official punishment, or it would have been troublesome. Confused, I just sent her a question mark. She replied that it was nothing. I didn't ask further. Meanwhile, Makoto's bullying of Willow continued, but Willow stayed silent. Every time, She looked at me with that pitiful expression, as if trying to find some trace of emotion on my face, but I always acted like I didn't see it. I didn't understand. Since Willow had already been given a second chance at life, why insist on making herself so miserable? She should have known that with her singing talent, life could be much easier. Yet she made no move to fight back. It was as if she wanted me to see how pitiful she was, trying to stir up some protective instinct in me. Too bad for her. I couldn't even be bothered to look at her. Chapter 13. Because I wanted to walk the path I never took in my previous life, I immersed myself every day in the ocean of knowledge. And Anna, under the excuse of asking me study questions, stayed by my side constantly, finding every opportunity to make her presence known. The first year of high school passed in a flash, and I remained the top student in the grade. God knows, if I hadn't failed the college entrance exam in my last life, I might have already gone into scientific research by now, instead of thinking about being with Willow, earning more money, and applying for a computer science major. At the start of our second year, we were reassigned to new classes. A familiar face showed up, Anna. When she found out she'd be sitting next to me, she was so happy she almost burst. As lively and unrestrained as ever, she said, "Sharing a desk with the top student, guess that's what they mean by being close to the water gets you the moon first, huh?" In front of us, Willow's jaw tightened so hard I could almost hear her teeth crack. Not long after, that rainy night came, the one where she said she liked watching Makoto's back. I had taken a different route on purpose, just to avoid her, but I still ran into her. She wasn't carrying an umbrella. The rain was pouring, roaring between heaven and earth, and we looked at each other from a distance. I immediately turned around, ready to take another way, but she called out, "George." She managed to stop me. The rain kept pouring down. Her thin dress clung to her slender figure, soaked through. Water streamed down her face, making it hard for me to even see her expression clearly. I stood there silently, holding my umbrella, with no intention of sharing it with her. People on the street passed by, throwing us curious glances. She didn't care, she just stood there, quietly looking at me. Suddenly, I remembered a time when I took her to a singing competition. That day, she had already decided what song to perform. Yet right before going on stage, she changed it. The new song was about young, innocent love. She even missed a few beats while singing. Afterwards, she told me that song was for someone very important who was there that day. But I had forgotten, there was someone else in the audience. Makoto. He was there with his girlfriend. How could she enjoy my care and attention, while giving her feelings to another man at the same time? Her voice trembled. "Why are you avoiding me?" Willow's voice was so low it was almost drowned out by the rain, thick with restrained emotion. "You'd rather help others than look at me." She took a hesitant step forward, as if wanting to move closer. "Anna has everything. She doesn't need your charity." Charity. So in her eyes, my help was just charity. Suddenly, it all became clear. Willow never truly liked me. She thought my attempts to save her were just idle amusement, a pastime born out of pity. She mistook my compassion for condescension, my concern for self-righteousness. To her, we weren't equals. So she became obsessed with someone who treated her cruelly, Makoto, someone who never pitied her, who looked down on her completely. She forgot one thing, though, back then. She hadn't been hurt by Makoto only because I had protected her. Now, with my indifference, Makoto could trample her self-esteem into the ground, grind her pride into dust. And when she finally saw Makoto for who he really was, she began to see me differently, too, because I stood aside this time, because I didn't help her. It made her believe that maybe she and I were the same kind of people. But I finally understood something. Someone like Willow didn't deserve a hand reaching out from the darkness to save her. What she wanted was someone just as broken as herself, someone who lived in the same darkness. And that wasn't me. Her body trembled. She could barely stand. Her voice was fragile, almost lost in the rain. Why do you hate me so much?" Chapter 14. I answered. "Willow, let me correct you. I don't hate you. I just treat you as if you don't exist." My feelings for her, whether love or hate, had long since vanished. Even her words no longer stirred me at all. For a moment, a flicker of light appeared in her eyes, but I stomped it out myself, saying, "You're just a passerby in my life. You're not worth any extra emotion from me." Willow froze for an instant. The expression on her face collapsed completely. She said, "This shouldn't be like this." She desperately wanted to find some proof in my eyes that I still loved her. Unfortunately for her, there was nothing. So she started to play the victim. With a face full of grievance she said, "You clearly liked me so much, you even gave up the major you wanted for me. That was because of an accident at the college entrance exam. I didn't finish the last essay and couldn't enter the school I wanted. Life then offered other choices, and she happened to be part of one of those choices. Now I didn't want to play along anymore." Looking at her, I said slowly, "When I liked you back then, it was without any ulterior motive. I never thought of it as saving you. My love had been burning and sincere. My favoritism toward her had been obvious. I knew clearly that she was starved for love. Now it seemed she was short on common sense too. Hearing the word like come from my mouth, a little joy flashed across her eyes. She said, "I knew it, you do like me." I cut her off. "That was then. Now you're just a stranger to me." She flinched. Her eyes slowly filled with tears. She said, "Makoto and I didn't do anything." Thinking of how she used to collect so many photos of Makoto like some little fangirl irritated me. So I interrupted. "Don't tell me that." Willow's tone carried disbelief. She said, "But this time nothing happened. I didn't do anything wrong. Why are you doing this?" I sneered. She actually had the nerve to ask me why. After being together for more than 10 years, whatever the reason, she put someone else before me. Her boyfriend. Am I supposed to gratefully thank her for not betraying me? For not cheating on me? When she let the whole internet make a laughingstock of me, did she never think about the consequences? Maybe because my expression was too cold. Willow reached out to grab me and began to apologize. "I didn't mean it, but none of that even happened. Why can't you just look at me, even once? Just one look." I pushed her away and said, "Because, Willow, you don't deserve it." She stood there stunned, then slowly shook her head and spat. "Is it because of that bitch Anna? You saved her. I'll make her lose her looks. Let's see how she still flirts with you." She was a crazy, Yandere mess. I should have known. Last time, I was the pill that kept her emotions stable. This time, without that pill, she was even sicker. I stopped her and said, word by word, "Willow, the bottle of water you gave me before the English exam, you put something in it, didn't you?" Chapter 15. I used to wonder, my grades had always been stable, and I never ate anything strange. So why, of all times, did my stomach suddenly twist in pain right at the end of the exam? Pain so sharp that I had to give up on writing the English essay, losing my chance at my dream university. But after what Willow just said, it suddenly hit me, maybe that wasn't an accident. Her face turned pale, inch by inch, under the weight of my words. Finally, she whispered, her voice so small it was almost pitiful, "I just wanted you to stay with me." I gave a cold laugh and smack. My hand came down hard across her face. I said, "Keep acting like this, and I swear I'll ruin you." She didn't speak again for a long time. Eventually, her figure disappeared into the curtain of rain. I reached up and touched my own face, cold. It was the first time in a long while that I'd lost control of my emotions. Not because of Willow, but because of myself, and the feelings I'd wasted. Then, a pair of white canvas shoes appeared before me. I looked up. Anna stood there, tilting her head slightly as she looked at me. Under the dim streetlight, her face seemed a little blurred. She stepped under my umbrella and spoke softly. "George, do you know why I like physics?" Without waiting for me to answer, she continued. "Because it has the magic to travel through time and space," she said. "Have you heard of quantum entanglement?" Then she smiled gently. "Quantum entanglement transcends time and distance. Two particles that were once completely unrelated can become connected, intertwined, no matter how far apart they are." I froze. In my previous life, I had clicked on a research paper about parallel universes. At the bottom, there was an email address inviting people from all fields to discuss. When I couldn't sleep because of everything that happened with Willow, I sent a message to that address. A reply came quickly. I still remember the exact words. "Mr. Wong, would you like to try the experiment?" That email, it was what brought me here. Could Anna have been the one who sent it? I stared at her. She reached out her hand and said, "Don't worry about why you came here. What matters is, what do you truly want?" Then she added, "Among the countless parallel universes, there will always be one where you get what you wish for." A sudden clarity washed over me, like a light breaking through the fog. I hesitated, then slowly reached out. She intertwined her fingers with mine, her voice warm and steady. "George, as long as you're willing to keep moving forward, you'll find your own path." Chapter 16. After that rainy night, Willow got sick and stopped coming to school. Anna's words from that night lingered in my mind. So I began reading all sorts of articles about parallel universes. None of them were proven, of course, until one day, when I went to the library to borrow some books. I happened to notice the borrowing record on A Brief History of Time by Stephen Hawking. According to the system, I had borrowed it not long ago, but I had never read that book before. Then, right below my name, was Anna's. In that instant, a bold and crystal clear thought surfaced in my mind, one that made my heart pound. I stood frozen for a long time, then silently placed the book back on the shelf and returned to my studies. To my surprise, Makoto suddenly seemed like a completely different person. He even organized the entire class to visit Willow, and he himself took care of her in the hospital. When I was exhausted from doing homework, I occasionally overheard him muttering to himself, "Don't die. I'll make it up to you. Please forgive me." Words like that. I had no idea what had happened between them, but wasn't this good? Willow's unfulfilled dreams from her previous life had now come true. The moonlight had finally fallen upon her. When she returned, she stopped coming to find me. She was quiet, alone, almost invisible in class. But when our third year began, a piece of shocking news spread through the school. Perhaps she had figured things out over the summer. Willow entered a singing competition and became an overnight sensation. The songs that had made her famous in her last life, she released them early this time, and she instantly became a school celebrity. In one interview, she said, "I want to stand high above, side by side with the one I love." Meanwhile, Makoto Ito grew even closer to her. Using Ito Enterprises to promote her, they started coming to school less and less, but it didn't stop them from becoming a romantic legend on campus. People loved to talk about them, how they were a perfect match, how fate had tied two deskmates together. I didn't care. Sometimes I received messages from unknown numbers, a few lines of lyrics, or stray sentences with no context. I deleted them all, but a faint unease grew inside me. I couldn't shake the feeling that she was planning something bigger. Before I could figure out what that was, Makoto came to see me. Chapter 17. Last time, when I stood up for Willow, I'd ended up offending Makoto. He tried to mess with me, both openly and behind my back, but my grades were good. My family background was solid, and I wasn't someone easy to push around. Eventually, he gave up. This time, though, I hadn't spoken to him much at all, so I couldn't figure out why he was suddenly looking for me. He said, "So, you're that useless piece of trash." He looked at me with a mocking grin. How pathetic. Even when she died, the person she thought of was me, not you. That confirmed it. He also remembered the past life. He went on, "But I'll give you a warning. Don't even think about making a move on her. Willow is my woman. She's way out of your league." He must have thought I couldn't understand the deeper meaning behind his words, because he grew even more arrogant, even raising his hand to strike me. But I dodged his punch and kicked him hard. He doubled over in pain and started cursing. "George, you bastard. Don't think I won't have you killed if you keep this up." I was taller than him. I looked down, my voice cold. "Do yourself a favor. Don't mess with me, you son of a..." He was about to lunge again when someone suddenly stepped in between us. It was Willow. She hadn't shown up in a long time. Makoto's expression changed in an instant. With a greasy smile, he said, "Willow, what are you doing here? You worried about me?" Willow looked at him but didn't answer. I couldn't care less about their little scene. I gathered my things, ready to leave, but Makoto blocked my way again. "Hey, bookworm, you don't really think you'll ace the exams this time, do you?" I froze for a moment. He continued, "Drop that fake goody two-shoes act. You're really asking for a beating." What the hell was wrong with him? Just as I was about to reply, a crisp, confident voice came from behind us. Funny how someone who can barely scrape into a community college dares to mouth off at the top student. Maybe you don't have a mirror at home, but there's always your piss reflection, isn't there? It was Anna. Chapter 18. She walked up beside me, her tone dripping with sarcasm as she looked at the two of them. "Oh, so it's our class's bottom rankers. No wonder, we're clearly not on the same intellectual level." Makoto's face twisted with anger. "Who the hell do you think you are? Don't think I won't hit you just because you're a girl." But the next second, Anna took a few steps closer. Her entire presence radiated "Don't mess with me." Her cold eyes met his as she said, "Go ahead, try me." Then, with a sharp edge to her voice, "Do you seriously think the Yu family is someone you can afford to offend?" She walked past him and calmly started packing up my bag, as if nothing had happened. Willow just stood there in silence. Her face showed no emotion, but I clearly saw her hands clutching tightly at the hem of her clothes. Still, she said nothing. When she and Makoto finally left, she glanced back at me once, silently mouthing a few words, but I didn't care to read them. On the way home, Anna said quietly, "Don't act on impulse. It could affect your review qualifications." I nodded, then immediately asked, "And since when is my background check any of your business?" Her cheeks flushed slightly. "I'm just reminding you not to do anything reckless." But something didn't sit right with me. How did she even know I was applying to C University? Chapter 19. In the final months before the college entrance exams, Willow and Makoto also returned to school to prepare. Anna, on the other hand, was constantly on edge. She followed me everywhere, terrified that something might go wrong again. Surprisingly, Makoto didn't cause me any more trouble. During those last 2 days of exams, Anna even had a maid from the Yu family specially cook meals for me, insisting that I not eat anything handed to me by others. And so, the exams went smoothly. When it was all over, I knew, this time, I was finally going to walk the path I'd missed before. That night, our class held a graduation party. To my astonishment, Anna confessed to me, "I like you, George," she said. "My background's clean. I've never been in a relationship. I don't have some perfect ex haunting my past. And most importantly, We share the same interests. I love physics too. I could be your support. What do you think? Will you at least consider me?" It was then that I finally understood what she'd meant in the text she'd sent me long ago, right after Willow reported her. Seeing me deep in thought, Anna continued. "It's okay if you don't choose me. I know your heart's set on scientific research. Don't worry. I won't hold you back. I can even." I interrupted her. "Anna, in the other timeline, was that you?" She froze. I went on. "I saw a brief history of time. I think the timelines must have overlapped. That's why the book I borrowed in the other world showed up here. Because the timelines are unstable. We can remember both worlds, right? You once said quantum entanglement connects people beyond space and time, maybe. In a metaphysical sense, that's karma. Cause and effect looping back on itself. That's why the four of us all share our memories. So, in that other world, did you and I cross paths only because of that book?" From Anna's quiet words, I learned about a secret love story, one I had never noticed. Back in our first year, when I gave a speech as the student representative, she had already started paying attention to me. She began to notice where I went, what I did, how I lived. When I participated in the physics competition during our second year, she became interested in physics too, and went to borrow the same books I did. That's when she truly fell in love with the subject, because, as she said, quantum mechanics really can cross time and space, and she believed, with unwavering faith, that parallel universes were bound to intersect one day. But at that time, I was with Willow, so Anna could only bury her feelings deep inside and focus on her research. Later, she discovered a way to shift between timelines. When she received my email, she replied, that was her message. It was Anna who brought me here. But since it was an experiment, there were risks. For instance, we might now be trapped here forever, carrying the memories of another timeline. I asked. "So that day, when you got hurt and I saved you, that was on purpose, wasn't it?" Anna immediately shook her head. "No, that was real. In my original timeline, I was a poor student in a slow class. Those girls used to extort me and threaten me not to tell my parents. But after I crossed over, I tested into your class and finally escaped them. Because every event branches into infinite choices, and every choice leads to a different ending. This time, my ending was meeting Anna." She smiled faintly. "Of course, I had my own reasons for studying parallel universes. I just wanted, in one of your choices, to finally have a chance to appear in your story." Chapter 20. After a long silence, I finally said to her, "Anna, we've known each other for 3 years, but I'm not sure if I still have it in me to start a new relationship. I'm afraid that saying yes now would only be irresponsible to you." Anna's face instantly lost all color. She bit her lip and whispered, "I know." Then, forcing a smile, she added softly, "Liking someone, it's not something you can force, after all." She kept talking, maybe to comfort herself, but the more she spoke, the more her voice trembled with sadness. I couldn't help but smile faintly. Then I stepped forward and pulled her into an embrace. "But as long as we're willing to move forward, we'll find our own path someday, right? So, my girlfriend, would you like to explore another possibility with me?" Anna froze for a moment, then let out a joyful squeal, shouting, "I do." And before I could react, she threw herself into my arms, laughing and crying at the same time. Later, one of our classmates brought over some cake for Anna. Anna asked with a teasing smile, "How did you know George and I were together?" The classmate blinked, confused. Another classmate asked, "Anna, which university are you applying to?" Anna replied cheerfully, "Oh, didn't you hear? I'm George's girlfriend now." Two confused faces. As the room filled with laughter and noise, someone called out for a group photo. Anna smiled brightly, saying, "After all these years of having a secret crush, George finally agreed to be with me." Three confused faces. It didn't take long before the entire class knew we were together. Only one person stayed silent, Willow, now a rising pop star. As laughter and congratulations surrounded Anna, Willow sat quietly, her eyes dimming bit by bit, the light fading away. That night, I received a message from an unknown number. "Once, you guarded my dream. This time, it's my turn." Chapter 21. I didn't reply, but soon, I understood exactly what she meant. A week later, during one of Willow's live fan meetings, she personally dragged Makoto from heaven straight into hell. At that point, Makoto thought they were tacitly a couple, but when the host asked Willow if she had anything to say after finishing the exams, screens behind her suddenly lit up with videos. Evidence. Proof of Makoto bullying her. The camera shook. Clearly hidden footage. In those frames, you could see Willow's fragile, broken face after every time she was humiliated. Her body curled up, small and trembling, looking as if she could shatter at the slightest touch. The venue erupted into chaos. Gasps, whispers, disbelief. Makoto, enraged, rushed onto the stage, screaming for the video to be turned off. But no one listened. Everyone's eyes were on Willow, eyes filled with pity, confusion, shock. They didn't understand why she would do this. For a rising star, exposing something like this was practically self-destruction, even if she had been the victim. At the end of the video, a recording played, a conversation. It sounded like Willow had coaxed the truth out of a drunken Makoto. Willow, the water George drank during the exam, did you switch it? Makoto, laughing smugly, of course. I just couldn't stand that fake hero act of his. Saving people. What a joke. Tell me, wouldn't it be fun to see him fall? The fan meeting descended into chaos, but Willow stood calm and composed, gazing straight into the camera, as if she were speaking directly to me. See, I could never love someone who once hurt me. A person who destroys another's dreams could never deserve to stand by my side. And in that moment, I finally understood her message that night. I understood why she had suddenly accelerated her rise to fame. Why she wanted the entire world to see her. She had been preparing all along for a grand act of revenge, so that this time, she could stand before me, pure and untainted, bathed in the light. Chapter 22. Makoto was finally sent to prison. I went to see him. When he saw me, he gave a hollow laugh and said, "Feeling proud now? Last time, she chose me. This time, you're the one who won." I shook my head. In love, the one who takes it seriously first is the one who loses. Neither of us are winners. He froze for a moment, confused. Where did it all go wrong? In the last life, she killed herself for me. This time, I did everything for her, so why did she betray me? I had no answer for him. He gave a bitter smile and went on. So all along, she only let me get close to her because she wanted revenge for you. But the funny part is, that bottle of water, the one that ruined your exam, she's the one who handed it to you. It's ironic. Really, she just wanted someone to share the mud with her, to keep her company in the darkness. Now she's pretending she's clean, pretending she's innocent. What a joke, pure self-deception. Then he said, I guess her feelings for me were fake too. She only saw me as someone like herself, someone broken. It wasn't love, just a twisted need to make others think she was capable of it. She was too scared to let you see the darkness inside her. And I thought, in the end, I was the biggest fool of all. When I first came here, I hated them both, two people who dragged me down into their shadows, who forced me to abandon my dream. I wanted to tear them apart, limb by limb. But according to quantum mechanics, this moment, this slice of time, is only one frame among infinite possibilities. There are countless versions of us, all facing different endings. As I left, I said to Makoto, you deserved it. You were already engaged, and still went back to chase Willow. Don't talk to me about loyalty. He froze, saying nothing. That's the price of betraying genuine love. Chapter 23. When I walked out, Willow was waiting for me at the gate. She said, I've shown you the ugliest, dirtiest side of myself. Can you still forgive me? I shook my head, carefully. She took out a bouquet of calla lilies, the same kind I had given her when I confessed my love back then. I stared at her blankly. Her voice trembled. I was wrong. Can't you even give me a chance to make it right? She continued, desperately. If heaven gave us another life, isn't it so we can fix the mistakes we made before? I cut her off and looked toward Anna, who was walking up behind her. You're wrong, I said quietly. It wasn't heaven that brought us back, because I knew. It was someone who devoted her entire life to research. Someone who spent all her strength and time, just so that my life could have one more choice. I walked past Willow and took Anna's hand firmly in mine. Looking at her, I said, the love I once gave you was complete, without a single ounce of restraint. But this time, I'm grateful we never got tangled again, so that I could give that same love, wholly and freely, to someone else. And in her world, the moonlight would never rise again. The darkness would swallow every last ray of light. She stayed where she was, motionless, like a lost child, left behind in the dark. Chapter 24. I got into the university I had always dreamed of, studying the subject I loved most. Then I kept going, diving deeper and deeper into academia, spending almost every day buried in the research lab, working on classified projects. Every time I picked up my phone, there were messages from Anna, text from Anna, talk to me, hubby, talk to me, hubby, hubby. My vacation started, I'm coming to see you. I replied. Go find my supervisor instead. She sent another one. Please, hubby, look at me, stop staring at those cold, heartless machines. Before I could respond, a video call popped up. The moment I answered, I slammed my phone face down on the desk, put on more clothes. I hissed, my colleagues are still here. She pouted on the other end, voice full of playful defiance. I don't care if you don't look at me. What if you end up liking someone else? I sighed and gave in. Don't worry, none of them are as beautiful as you, Anna immediately asked. And their bodies? Not as good as yours. Big boobs. No, she gasped in mock outrage. How do you know? Have you seen them? I was speechless. There it was again, her unreasonable jealousy. But well, she was my unreasonable girlfriend, and I was the one who chose her. So I could only smile helplessly, and start coaxing her all over again. Chapter 25. The next time I heard anything about Willow was when she killed herself. I hadn't followed her career since she became a singer, didn't watch her performances, didn't read her news. I only found out because Anna sent me a screenshot. My name was trending right next to hers. Before I could even look, Anna was already fuming, messages flooding in. Anna's messages. Doesn't she have her own husband? Why is she always obsessed with someone else's? Is she sick or just likes being the other woman? The screenshot showed headlines, her new song Regret and the news of her suicide, and attached below, pages from her old high school diary. 10 years worth of secret love entries, all about me. When I finished reading, I felt calm, too calm, almost absurdly so. In her last life, she couldn't live without Makoto. In this one, she couldn't live without me. And the strangest part, as long as the victim was a woman, public outrage always found another woman to attack. Fortunately, because of the confidential nature of my work, my name only stayed online for a few hours before being erased completely. Maybe Willow thought she was leaving behind the grandest, most tragic love story ever told. Maybe she believed that her regret, her rebirth, would move the world into giving us a perfect ending. But she was wrong. She didn't deserve to have her name placed beside mine. Then, one afternoon, a package arrived. I didn't expect it. Willow had sent me something. It was a letter. Letter from Willow. Hubby, by the time you read this, you'll already know the outcome. I never wanted to use my death to chain you to me. I just loved you too much. Without you, I have no reason to keep living. Since the day I was born, I've always been alone. I never had love. When I was at my lowest, you appeared, like a beam of light, and chased away all my darkness. You took care of me, protected me without hesitation. But you were kind to everyone. So I thought your kindness toward me was nothing special, just pity for someone unlucky. You were too good. So good that I felt unworthy. So good that I convinced myself that if I fell for someone like Makoto, someone as broken as me, then maybe I'd be normal. But I wasn't normal. I was full of dark thoughts. I wanted you to become disabled, a vegetable, so that you'd stay with me forever. So I could take care of you forever. I couldn't tell you that. The thought tortured me for too long, until I couldn't bear it anymore. I know you'll hate me. A person like me never deserved to be loved by anyone. I thought I loved Makoto, but after coming back, I realized the only person I ever wanted to see again was you. I hurt you, and I'm sorry. But selfishly, I still hope that if my death makes you remember me, maybe that's not such a bad thing. Someone as awful as me could only glimpse a bit of heaven's light by standing next to you. Without you, I have no reason to live. I read Anna's thesis, and I'm thankful for the idea of parallel universes, because at least, in another timeline, I got to be with you. That's why, when we met for the last time, I didn't say goodbye, because I knew we never would again. Inside the box was also the broken bracelet, the one that had long since stopped working, and a video. In it, the sky was quiet, glowing with soft green light. Under the aurora, she looked up at the heavens, voice trembling as she choked out words between sobs. George, I love you. I only understood it after losing you. At the end, she fell to the ground, covering her eyes with both hands. Tears still streamed through her fingers. Her voice came and went, carried by the cold wind around her. I don't deserve your forgiveness. If there's another parallel world, would you look at me again? Just once, please. I was silent. Chapter 26. I didn't finish watching. I turned it off. None of what she said could erase what she had done. Whatever her reasons were for loving Makoto, it was still a betrayal of what we had. So no, I wasn't interested in her repentance. The past can't be undone, and the wounds it left have already scarred. Permanent reminders never to repeat the same mistake. That's why I will never forgive her. Because the version of me in that other timeline, the one who gave everything sincerely, deserved better than betrayal disguised as love. When Anna finished watching the video, she asked me what I thought. I thought for a moment, then gave my answer in one word: pretentious. Then I pulled her into my arms and whispered, I already know who truly matters to me. After all, this is love that's crossed through time itself. It was an unmistakable, blazing kind of favoritism. A love that stayed, unconditionally, by my side. A love that existed for me, and only me. Anna took out a bouquet of white bellflowers and said softly, the white bellflower means eternal love. The one I love will still love me, even in another universe. I laughed, showing her the red roses I had brought. I'm simpler than you. Red roses for destiny, for the kind of souls that always find each other again. Then I kissed Anna gently on the forehead and said, I love you, because in the dance of quantum entanglement, some encounters, some loves, are destined from the very beginning.